Oh, hey everybody. Today, we're going to use fire to drop this Model A axle. My friend Richard Norton, he built this jig a few years ago to drop axles on. And a few weeks ago, he's like, hey, do you want to store my jig for me? And you can use it? I'm like, yeah, of course. So last week, I dropped the first axle I've ever dropped. Richard and my friend Jeremy Mang, he's got a hot rod shop up island in the New Spey, drops beautiful axles. He is phenomenal. Anyways, they kind of guided me through it, and I dropped my first axle, which is over here. This guy here, it's a 37-41 Ford axle that I dropped. It was definitely a learning curve on that one. So now I think I'm ready to drop this axle here, which I will be using in the Roadster pickup that I'm building. So why would you want to drop an axle? Well, one, the pedigree and the street cred that you get from having like an original dropped axle as opposed to one that you just bought out of a catalog. I mean, this is the way that they used to drop axles back in the day. You couldn't buy aftermarket axles. The second reason, well, another reason, one, they're more affordable. Like that axle up there, I bought that off my friend Bob Coulter, for 50 bucks. That's cheap. An aftermarket axle's not 50 bucks. So the other reason, this is an aftermarket axle over here that was in a collision and it broke. Snapped. That's very concerning. This is a very well-known brand named axle. So original Ford axles they're forged steel. They don't break, they will bend. In fact, in 1933, Henry Ford had an axle on display that he had twisted, like ornamental twisting in a lathe, just to show that axles bend, not break. So how do we drop the axle? This is a stock Model A axle right here. See how it is like almost perfectly straight. By heating this area, here I'll show you on this one. So by heating this area and stretching it, instead of this axle going straight across here, it now drops down. And depending on how far you stretch that, that's how far the car drops down. Average is usually 4 inches on like Model A's and 32 to 34s. When you get into some of the fat fender cars like this 37 to 41, 2 inches is about all you can go, because it starts to get too close in here. And these axles actually have like a 2-inch drop already compared to a Model A one when they're still stock. So we're gonna use this Rosebud torch, this 20-ton jack. We're gonna heat this up red hot and stretch it. Let's get to it. Okay, there is one side done. Heated that guy up and stretched it right out. So now once that cools down a bit, I just pounded the kingpin out because it's way easier to get it out while it's still hot. So once that cools down a bit that I can handle it, I'll spin it around and do this side. Okay, this is flipped around now, so we can do this side. You'll notice I got this angle finder here, and what I've done is zeroed that out. So what I do is, as you noticed, as you're jacking this up, it went up high on there. When it hits this, that's a 4-inch drop. From there to there is 4 inches. So what I do is keep pushing on this side until this zeroes out again. And I should add, that's without stress on it. So I'll get it when it's like really close, let the pressure off, check to see where we're at. And that is what keeps our kingpin inclination correct for camber. If it isn't exactly 100% perfect, you can always like put these in a press after. You know, that's what Jeremy does. But we'll stretch this side now and see where it's at. And if we got to tweak it in a press later, well, then we'll do it. Okay, so the second side is done. Man, it's hot in here. My furnace hasn't kicked in all morning. And you'll notice this is zeroed out again. So, knock the kingpin out and we're done. Okay, here it is, all finished up. Laying on top of a stock axle. You can see this now comes up 4 inches. Isn't that cool? You'll also notice it's a little bit narrower. And that's obviously because for this to bend, I mean, it's obviously going to shrink a bit as the material is forced up. But that's not a big deal because on a fenderless car, you'll never ever notice. And on a full fendered car, it actually helps because the wheel now comes in, so it sits more in the crown of the fender, which gives you more steering clearance, and aesthetically it looks way better. So there it is. That is a dropped Model A axle. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you noticed, I was wearing a new shirt. Check out the website if you want one of your own. See you later.